to the newest Bearded Booktube. I am, as always, your host, the Bearded Booktuber, Chris Arnone. It's time for another book haul. So, Labor Day weekend right now, and that means Half Price Books was running their big Labor Day weekend sale, and I just had to take advantage of that. So I went to not one, but two Half Price bookstores near me and came away with quite the haul. So let's check them out. So first off, we've got The Night Circus by Erin Morgenstern. Now, this is a book I think a lot of booktubers are familiar with. That's where I've heard about it. Now, I remember seeing this book a long time ago, and I was thinking at the time, boy, this seems like it's really inspired by Ray Bradbury's Something Wicked This Way Comes, which is not a bad thing. And I thought about buying this like a year ago, and I went, nah, I don't know. I've never really heard anything about it. Now I've heard so much about it that I went ahead and picked it up. Nice first edition hardcover. It's in good condition, so bam, that's now on my to-read list and in my collection. Now, if you watched my first book haul, you'll know I'm a Dresden Files fan. My first book haul, I picked up several of his. Well, guess what? I found a new one, Turncoat by Jim Butcher. So this now means I have 6 out of the 9 first edition hardcovers. Now, I know you're thinking, well, there's like 15 books in this series. You're right. I've also talked about before, the first 6 books came out initially in mass market paperback and were only released as hardcovers later. So I'm still trying to figure out how I want to go about getting those first 6 books from a collector standpoint. But of those other 9, books 7 through 15, I've now got 6 of them in my collection. Pretty cool. Now, if you can see my shelf behind me at all, you realize I'm a big Neil Gaiman fan. I've got very nearly everything he's ever written in first edition hardcover, but not everything. And so there's always stuff I'm looking for of his. Like, I know, for instance, I'm still looking for a first edition hardcover Stardust, Fragile Things, a few other things. Well, I found not one, but 2 of the same series. Now, these are the Interworld series. It's a YA series written by both Neil Gaiman and Michael Reaves. So the first one is called Interworld, and the second one is called The Silver Dream. I managed to find these both. I'd never actually seen either one of them in hardcover in a bookstore, and then found them both at the same time. So I'm very excited for that. It seems like it's a cool sort of cross-worlds, fantasy, magic, superhero kind of stuff. Should be a lot of fun. Those are all things I really enjoy. And it's Neil Gaiman. I'm a big fan. Very excited to dig into these 2. Now, like most booktubers, I'm a fan of Harry Potter. But of course, I came about it in a completely different way. I'm, as you can probably tell, awfully more male and a bit older than most of your booktubers. So Harry Potter wasn't a thing when I was young. I think I was in college when it kind of started up. And to me, it was just like, oh, that seems like a poor man's, Lord of the Rings. Psh. And so, I don't know, I think when the 3rd movie came out is when I finally, checked out one of them and thought, oh, that's pretty cool, and started watching the movies and getting more and more into it. And then one day I did decide, yes, I'm going to read these. But I waited until the movies were done. I didn't want the movies ruined for me. So, I have now, however, read all of them. I have all the Harry Potters in first edition hardcover, and I have Tales of Beetle and the Bard, and then found out through another booktuber, there's a couple other little books related to Harry Potter. Well, I must have these. So now, I found them. So this is a 2-pack. So it has Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them, as well as Quidditch for the Ages, in a nice little Scholastic box set. And yes, these are indeed first edition hardcovers, at least the US Scholastic first edition hardcovers. So I can now say I have first edition hardcovers of every Harry Potter related book that J.K. Rowling has written. Period. End of story. Pretty cool. These should be quick, fun little reads. Maybe I'll shove these in between a couple larger reads that I might be doing at some point. But yeah, pretty excited for these. And then we have another book by one of my favorite authors, Maps and Legends by Michael Chabon. Now, some of you may be a bit astute and say, wait, you just showed us this book in your top 5 spines. You're right, I did. And I realized something was wrong with my old copy of Maps and Legends. So if you look at this old one, you'll see there's a rip in the middle. But here's the other thing too. Notice a little something different between these. Now I was very excited that there's layers. So there's the black layer, the yellow layer, the green layer. But look at this new one. There's this whole blue layer. So not only did I notice the rip, and I thought, well, I need to replace this with a nicer one, I'm missing part of the dust cover on the old one. So yes, I picked up a new first edition hardcover, Maps and Legends, to replace my sort of fumbling, goofy-looking one that I will then be selling back to Half Price Books for very little money. But that's okay. That's how the program works. And at last, we get to the crowning jewel of my book haul from Labor Day weekend. I need some dramatic music. This is a deluxe hardcover Game of Thrones. I am a fan. I have read all the books. The only first edition hardcover I have is the last book, A Dance with Dragons. I used to have a hardcover of one of the other ones. The others I had in paperback, but I've gotten rid of all of them. Basically, if it's not a first edition hardcover, I pretty much don't keep it in my collection. And technically, this is not a first edition. These deluxe editions that are just gorgeous slipcase leather. You see the shiny silver, the blue. It's fantastic. It was put out in 2011, but they're rare and beautiful. And so I thought, well, you know, a real first edition hardcover Game of Thrones is kind of prohibitively expensive. They run anywhere from about $250 all the way up to like $600, and that's just not in the cards right now. So this beauty, while not cheap, was significantly less than one of those, and it's going to look gorgeous sitting on my shelf. And that does it for my book haul, Labor Day Weekend 2014 edition. Be sure to follow me on Twitter. I try to be pretty active there, not so much on the weekends, but the rest of the time I'm pretty active. You can fan me on Facebook. Check out my book. It's called The Lost and Broken Realm. It's on Amazon. It's also on Nook. I believe it's also on Kobo, definitely on Smashwords. Please check that out and leave a review. It's so helpful when people leave honest reviews. Always trying to get better as an author. I'm on Tumblr. I have a blog out there. Check all that stuff out, and we'll see you on the next episode.